I went into the testing drawer, I pulled out some things. I've got some new things. I've got some things you've seen me try in these makeup testing drawer videos. And we're gonna just do a full face of makeup. Okay, sit back, babes. First things first, I'm gonna crack open a diet soda. I hope you enjoyed the last video, the fashion video. If you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. It's a declutter. So there's not anything revolutionary about it, but you know, if you need a long video to fall asleep to or just chill vibe with, check it out. Today, we're going to start with the innbeauty face glaze. I've tested it as a mix-in. I've tested it, God. I've tested it as a mix-in. I've tested it as a, oh my God. I've tested it. I've said this so many times and don't know why I can't get this out. I've tested it off camera many times and it's like something I really want to love. However, the way that I want to use it, it will just not let me. It works beautifully in other ways. So I really want to use it on top of foundation. It has lifted all of my foundations. Simply no. No matter how gently I like tap it on, it lifts my foundation. It just will lift it. And a lot of you said, oh, I really love using that as a primer. And I'm like, cool, I'll use it as a primer. Guess what? It's a great primer and it looks great. I know a lot of people like to use this on days where they're not wearing any makeup, just as like a little something something. I just like the ethereal glow. It gives so much. It's just like a beautiful soft highlight. And I just would love to have it on top. I've also mixed it in with my complexion products before. I like that, but it's also like, it doesn't matter. All of my foundations are like glowy enough, or the prep I do is glowy. Even the foundations that are like matte don't show up like fully matte on me. It's turning out not to be a product for me. One of you asked if you could use it as a mix-in to thin out formulas. No, it's a thick formula. It's really, really, really sturdy. And like it takes some effort to squeeze it out of the tube. Unless your foundation is like really, really thick, I can't see you using it like to thin out a formula. Look how it even spreads out on my hands. The other problem is I'm gonna put it on right now as a primer and go, wow, look at that. Look at how glowy it is. I really appreciate it for what it is, but like, I just don't think it's gonna survive like a testing drawer reckoning unless I find like a purpose for it, because, well, I have the Victoria Beckham primer and right now I'm using the golden one and it has a little bit of like glow to it. And I prefer that over this, but I think not that this is like an incredibly inexpensive thing. It gives me the vibe of the Victoria Beckham primer without being it. It's not the same texture, but like, I feel like it kind of makes my skin look the same as that product does if I don't put foundation on it. However, because it's sold to me as a primer and not like as an illuminator, I think that's why I'm okay with it being under everything else. Also, when I think of my other like glowy primery things, or maybe I only have one now, when I think of the Oregon Glow Lust, I feel like that really shines through my products that I put on top of it. And I just don't think this does that as strongly. I'm conflicted about it. Like I want to love it so bad. I know it's like a pretty popular product and I get it, except it's not working the way I want it to work. And that's okay, right? A product I think can be really beautiful, but if it doesn't work in the way you want it to work, then it's not great. And it says you can use it as a highlighter, by the way. I just want to say that the packaging says that. It just has not worked out for me. I feel like I keep falling out of frame. Do I just need to have good posture? Maybe I'll put it down a little bit, just a scotch. See, now I feel like I'm too high in the frame, but it's fine. Next up is a new product. It literally delivered to me today. So in Critical Sauce, I said that I was interested in this concealer and I was like, but I don't know if there's like interest in people hearing about it. And about 5 people said they'd like to hear about it. So it's not like this is gonna get a dedicated review, but it's gonna be incorporated in. And but actually that's not true. There is gonna be a dedicated review because if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm at hautemess Tom there. You don't have to follow me there, but I'm just saying that this is where I talked about this. I actually bought, CoverGirl sent me a new concealer from them. Well, I don't know if it's a new concealer, but they sent me a concealer from them, the Simply Ageless Triple Action Concealer, so drugstore. And then I just bought this high-end one and I only paid $6 for it because I had like point rewards and stuff. And then I thought, well, since I just got another concealer, what if I did like a, it's kind of like Watcher used to do it whenever they were in BuzzFeed. It would be like the pedestrian version and then the luxury version. So that's what we're kind of doing. So we're doing drugstore versus high-end versus luxury. And I bought the Farrah Hamidi. They say it's a foundation, they say it's a concealer, but that's the luxury one I purchased. I don't have that in my possession yet. So the thing that interested me most about the Refy concealer is that it looked like the shades were really desaturated. If you've never thought about saturation in complexion, I'm actually going to link Hannah's video on desaturation. Hannah's like the one person I've seen really discuss saturation and complexion products to a great extent because her skin tone is really, really desaturated. I saw this drop and I was like, that looks like something that would work for Hannah. But even the shades as they get deeper still are desaturated because saturation and depth of tone are like not mutually exclusive. Like it could be desaturated, but also it's like a whole thing. I don't know that I'm going to be able to explain it eloquently enough. My interest was piqued. And then it also was described as like low to medium coverage and blurring. And if there are two words I really love to hear when it comes to complexion product, it's light to medium coverage, blurring. Those are like two of my favorite words. Not only that, the imagery was compelling. Like what I saw in, I mean, obviously it was the advertiser's imagery. What I saw in their imagery, like actually was kind of compelling to me. I was like, okay, it kind of looks like it says what they're, well, you would hope in the advertising imagery, it would look like they say it's supposed to look, but like it didn't look like super touched up or anything. It just looked like this is what our concealer does. After people were like, I would be interested in hearing you talk about it, I got it. So got it today. First, and this is the container. So it is a frosted component. So when you're looking at the imagery online, you're not actually like really seeing what's inside the component unless you like look at the swatches and look at the models' faces that are wearing the concealer. But the thing that actually tickled me is that there's a sticker on the cap and it says shake well before use or shake before use. It's not printed on there, which makes me believe that that was like an afterthought. I don't know a lot about Refy. It's never been a brand that's like dazzled me in any kind of way. I don't know if they're a clean brand. I feel like most of my concealers don't say shake well. Like I don't think that's what they say. So I opened it immediately. Like the mail person, well, my dog was outside and then she started barking at the mail person. The mail person was like, came up to me, like there's a pretty big window into my front yard and he from the street waved and I was like, oh, like ran outside and like, I grabbed it. And of course I ripped the box open. It was a hard box to open. I don't know what they did, but this took me like 10 minutes to open and I didn't use scissors or anything. I try to keep boxes intact so that if I decide I don't like something and I can pass it on to the friend in the box, I don't know. It is as desaturated as they make it seem. It's like almost a little bit gray versus my skin tone. But I would say that I probably don't have the most saturated skin either. But I'm going to swatch some other concealers next to it so you can see in comparison. By the way, I bought the shade 3. So not the lightest shade. It was like the first light neutral shade. So from CoverGirl, this is the shade Ivory in the concealer that they sent me. And the formulas aren't similar at all, but that's okay. Like that wasn't the point. But you'll be able to see, like that is peach. That looks almost gray next to it. And then let me grab some of my other concealer. Let me grab some of my other complexion products. Let's really dive deep into this. Okay, so here is the Surratt Dewdrop Concealer. You can see how it's peachy. When you go back to that, it like doesn't really have any of that. And then this is the shade 1, which is kind of just white. But like, you know, it's very decidedly white. I don't even really have a complexion product that's like gonna be close to the way that that looks. So that's the Creator Concealer from Ritual Defy. And yeah, look how it just desaturated it looks. So I'm speaking, obviously, I have not seen all the shades in front of me, but it leads me to believe that the marketing imagery successfully captured the desaturation of it. I'm curious about shade 1. And a lot of people were like, after I posted, because I did post on Instagram, I was like, wow, this actually looks desaturated and maybe like even a little olive leaning, this shade. People were like, well, do you think Hannah would like it? Based on just like what I know from Hannah's videos, Hannah tends to like really full coverage concealers and then shears them out. Since this is described as a light to medium coverage concealer, I can't see this being like something that she would even buy for review unless she was really curious about the shade. Here's the doe foot. It's one of those ones that looks like a chair. I'm just gonna like do a couple dots and I might not even wear foundation today. I'll just put it like where I need it on this half of my face. On my face, it looks a lot more promising than it looked on my hand because it's like, if you look at all those other concealers that I typically use, it's like, this is just kind of drastically different. It does have it has a scent to it. I don't know if it's an artificial scent, like if they made it smell like that. I feel like I am getting more of like a medium coverage with this, but I did apply a little more concealer than I would if I put on like a foundation product, but I'm not intending on putting a foundation product on. The finish is really beautiful. I feel like, I know we're just kind of like in the early moments here, but I do feel as though my skin looks really blurred. And it's pretty glowy. You know, I also am wearing the face glaze, so let's not forget that. Is it a solid? I don't know. I think it looks good. Oh my God. So without, with. And I just put it in the center of my face and blended it out. And a little actually really went a long way. But you can still see like my moles. The formula is a little bit thicker than the Surratt Dewdrop Concealer, which has been my preferred concealer for quite some time now. So I'll be curious how it handles my under eye, the fold under my eye, like how much it gets caught in there, what it looks like when it gets caught in there. I don't want to get too much into all of this right now, but like this has actually been really impressing me. But the shade range is just abysmal, which I thought CoverGirl had better shade ranges than I learned that they did whenever I started like looking into that. I'm gonna put on the other side. I like this. Ooh, I do need to try it with not the base glaze underneath it. There is a distinct smell to it. Let me see. I'll look at after I blended this out, I will check the ingredients to see if I see anything that would, because I feel like whenever I'm smelling a product, I don't really know what it smells like, right? Because like a fragrance, I can like kind of decipher it, but I feel like in a makeup product, I'm like really bad at just figuring out what artificial scent they put in it if I didn't know it before I smelled it. Yeah, that feels like a bit much I've been putting under the eye. It actually took to my nose quite well, so that's also promising. There's a little bit of redness on the high points of this cheek, and you can still see the redness through, but I feel like because of the desaturation and almost leaning a little bit that gray color, I think that neutralizes it, because I don't feel like I'm wearing like a ton of coverage, but like you can, you can't really see the redness through. Like I'm not sure if it's like with the beauty lights, if it's like reading as a little bit, it's like I can see a little pink through, but it really did neutralize it. Wow. And so far under my eyes, it's not really like gooping up. Okay. Wow. All right. So that is the Refy concealer. Guess what? I didn't even shake it. Oops. Makeup brands. If you tell me to shake something, I need there to be an agitator in it. Because if me shaking this around, what is that doing? This product is thick enough where it's not going to jiggle around on its own. So if it needs to be shaken well, put an agitator in it. So what I mean when I say that, in case you don't know what I'm trying to get at, put like a marble, like a ball, like a marble, a glass marble, or like a little steel marble. Put something in there that's going to rattle the product around. Because it's like, also I feel that way whenever I'm like mixing nail polish. I'm like, am I even mixing it? It's like we all do it. Like we're going to smoke a pack, We're like taking our things and we're like shaking them and pounding them and trying to, is that even doing anything? I'm going to contour with Ye Old Faithful. And then for blush, do I have a blush? I guess we can use the RMS blush again because I've really only used it that one time on camera. And it exactly what happens every time I don't like a color of a product. This is totally fine. It doesn't actually bother me, but it's just like a theme I've noticed when being on the internet. It's like if I don't like a color on me, people will go out of their way to tell me that they really liked that color on me. And it's like, that's fine. But what's more important for me as a makeup consumer is that I like how something looks on me. And I feel like I was very fair with the RMS blush. It's like, I really acknowledged, I was like, I just don't think I like this color, but I also think I can still speak to the formula and just be like, it's okay, but I just don't know why people lose their minds on it. I really like the way this concealer looks. Now I'm so curious about shade 1. I don't have Hannah's address. Or I would just be like, I'm mailing this to you. I'm buying this for you. I would like for you to review it. You don't have to keep it. I just need I need to see for science if it's a good match for you. But I've offered Hannah a product before that she specifically was talking about and she like did not accept it. And that's okay. We're all well within our right to do that. I didn't take offense to it. I was just like, I have that. If you would like it, I don't want it. Let's talk about powder because we haven't circled back to this powder in a minute, but it's still technically in my testing drawer because I try to really save everything for a reckoning before I move it into my permanent collection. However, sometimes you fall in love with something that's in the testing drawer, you meaning one, meaning me. Sometimes I fall in love with something in the testing drawer and it just becomes a part of my makeup routine, like so flawlessly that it's like, Of course, everyone knows how I feel about that, but I feel like I haven't circled back to the Hourglass Vanish pressed powder. I love it. I reach for it a lot. I have been trying to diversify my powders because I did finish my little Charlotte Tilbury travel size. I did finish that up, and then I immediately started using this, and I was like, I have other powders in my collection, and I still pick this up. Now, there is another powder I'm testing for like a brand review. That brand review is going to be a tough one. I'm not going to have fun doing it. I don't think any of you are going to really enjoy my take on it. Remember how I hemmed and hawed about this thing being in there? I've actually taken to using it. I really like it. I still think that they should have gone the route of making this compact refillable and making it maybe the compact a little more luxe and the powder just magnetic, but it's glued in there. I checked that first video, I tried it, but like look at, I mean, my skin already looked really good from the concealer, but look at that with the powder on it. Even more blurred. But look how it didn't really dim the shine from the face glaze. So here's without, here it is with. So just like a little more perfected. There is some coverage to this one. I didn't buy the translucent shade. I bought translucent light. So this one definitely has like a color to it. It's okay under the eyes. I still prefer like the brightening powder I usually use from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm going to tell you this. Cam really called me out. So there's a product on my wish list right now, which I haven't done a wish list video in a while because I really just, there's not much has changed since my last one. But you know, there's a product, and I think I've mentioned it slyly on camera, but not like announced it to the world. But like that Charlotte Tilbury lip plumper thing that's really in the really ugly packaging, I swatched it at a Sephora and I haven't stopped thinking about it. I was like, it's really pretty. Oh, I didn't even prep my lips. I think I'm almost done with this. I can't really tell. I think I'm almost done because there's been a lot more air bubbles coming out with it when I pump it up. Oh, I didn't check the box. Let me check the ingredients. Evodia ruticarpa fruit extract. It's a Chinese plant. So I guess I have no idea, but here's what it looks like. So it's that extract. Interesting. Interesting. It doesn't smell bad. It also isn't a very strong smell. In fact, I did, you know, catch the smell whenever I swatched it on my hand, but after it had been on my hand for like a second, like it wasn't something where I opened up the bottle and I like immediately noticed that there was a scent to it. I don't have a new bronzer. Gonna have to visit an Old Faithful. Let's do the Gucci. I feel like I've been besmirching the Gucci a little bit. I've been like, well, the Surratt one, I really like the Surratt one, but I also really like the Gucci one. My skin looks so good. If no one would have said that they were interested in that concealer and hearing my thoughts on it, I probably wouldn't have bought it. The CoverGirl one has been going well, but this one has also been going well. It's just kind of been like a good complexion year so far for me. Lisa Eldridge skin tint, and then maybe potentially these two concealers being like really good, and then also being able to like recommend like a CoverGirl concealer if I end up really enjoying it. How nice would that be? If it'd be, I mean, I think it'd be really nice. Let's try this again. I have the same, my feelings have not changed. I'm like applying it and I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. I mean, I do think the color is really the bigger issue here, but like, it's just a lot of nothing to me. And like, you know, I can get into a coral sometimes. And okay, let me try to see the good side of it, because I just kind of feel nothing about this formula. In a way, it reminds me of the ease of use of the Hourglass blushes, which in my opinion are like some of the most foolproof blushes one can use. Like it's like very easy to use them. They're really simple to use, and like it's really hard to overdo it on an Hourglass blush. So I feel like this lives in that realm, but that again also could be the shade, right? If I bought the deepest version of this blush, would I say the same thing about it? Because that's how I feel about the Hourglass ones. Even the shades that would appear to be too deep for me, I do feel as though like it's just kind of like I keep putting them on and it's totally fine. My skin looks banging. I'm gonna put on lamé from the Surratt highlighters. I've not actually tried this on top of a powdered face. Let's see how that goes. I mean, I honestly really don't need it, but like we can always try. So it's not really lifting anything, but it is getting caught in the powder and not looking its best. Like it almost looks like a little bit patchy. I have not experienced that if I've done it on an unset face. I normally don't put liquid products over powder. Creams I normally can do it. But like, I feel like liquids are a little fussier going on top of powder. Ooh, I didn't pick out an eyeshadow yet. Let's have an honesty moment. At the end of last year, I bought a bunch of purple eyeshadow. Do y'all remember? And I don't know if I like really showed all of it on camera or if like we've seen it all yet, but here's what I will say. I have not been wearing purple eyeshadow in my personal free time. And if you're new here, if you weren't here at that time, there's a shade in the Pat McGrath Mothership 1 palette that I'm trying to dupe because it's the only shade I like in the palette, and I didn't want to deconstruct the palette to get that one shade. I've deconstructed other Mothership palettes, but like for some reason, like at the beginning of the year is like when I feel like brands started paying attention to me, and I think it's because my declutter video got like tens of thousands of views, and I feel like I think that brands were like, oh, this person now can do us some good. And so I started getting like more PR, but not only that, like a bunch of friends, I think all decluttered at the end of the year too. So I ended up like getting an influx of just like stuff all around the time. So I haven't had time to put on the purple eyeshadows. Like I just haven't had the time. And the other thing is also like when I'm constructing a look for myself off camera, I'm not always like doing it to test things. And I just haven't been very interested in testing those eyeshadows out. So I don't even think I'm going to do a purple look today. I think I'm actually going to do, well, let's start with lip products. I have some new things. So CoverGirl sent me, I don't know if this is, I don't know if these are new, but it came with the concealers. Now they sent me 4 shades. I only kept 2. Tiff took the other 2. So these have like a balm on the inside of them. It's giving like Halo Scope from Glossier, that kind of thing. Elegant Nude, Darling Mocha. And of course, like the mocha shade is the one I was like, yes, I like the mocha shade, please give it to me. I thought that I've played around with these on my lips, but I haven't like worn them, like given them like a real test run, but they do stay glossy like that. So they're like a more of a satiny kind of thing. So of course, I mean, I guess you would expect that if there's a balm in the middle of them. The component's actually kind of cute. It's not like luxe or anything, but it's like this nice purple bullet. It comes with like a sticker to hold the lid on whenever you buy it. I did take that off, and then I just took some alcohol to it to rub the rest of them off, and I think they look kind of chic. You know, they just say CoverGirl. I was sent the shade L'Avenue from my friend Ananda, who's medium olive on Instagram, and it's from Merit. It's in the original Merit lipstick formula, and that's that shade. Here's the thing. I've tried to wear this shade a couple of times, and I have not been able to like wrap my head around it with what I would wear with it in my, like with my makeup. I have worn it a couple times. It has not looked right with any look that I have done. Cause I guess it is a berry, but it is a berry. Like it has, and like berries aren't always my favorite, but there's also a lot of brown to it. It reminds me a little bit of Evaporate Exothermic from Phytosurgeons. Like they kind of have that same like berry, not berry vibe. Like they have that brown in it. Oh wow, that's a lot more brown. Now, absolutely it looks like a berry there. But I really haven't wrapped, I haven't figured out what kind of look I would like to do with it. I love the Merit packaging. Like I think I've been excited to interact with it, but I'm like, but what do? How do I do it? And then the other lipstick I have is from Westman Atelier, and it's the shade Rue. Now, if you've been here since these launched, I've been interested in them since launch. I think I've had this for about a month. And my big concern whenever I was talking about them in Critical Sass is that I thought this was like, might be a warm brown, but it is a neutral brown. See how everything else has redness and just like this looks, just like brown, doesn't look like red brown. I've been very into this lip, but the component is the same as their blushes, but like a little bit smaller. I've been meaning to tell you about this Instagram account that I came across a while ago, and then I've been like, I need to talk about this profile on camera. Instagram account is Occupation Beauty, and it's ran by Kaylee. And what she does is talks explicitly about the accessibility of product packaging, which is awesome because I try to do that on my channel, but she is like a professional in this kind of thing. I'm not. I'm only speaking to my experience and how I feel about it. But she said that this kind of packaging, which the blushes are in and so are the lipsticks, is like considered pretty accessible. I did let her know, I was like, the compacts are not from Westman Atelier. Like, don't people, if they like, don't, the compacts aren't. They're really hard to open. Anyway, it is a little bit of an odd shape and an odd size for a lipstick component. Like, look at how much, like a thicker container that is. And then also because of like, when you take off, like it's like this much, you know what I mean? Like there's just like a lot here. Also, I wish they would make these refillable. That's something I desire. I thought that Westman Atelier was like supposed to be working on making all of their packaging refillable. Can you even buy refills of their powders? Because they said that they were going to do that. So it's just like pretty thick from the top, which is it's kind of weird. Like, it's just like, it just handles a little bit differently. But the reason that Kaylee said it was more accessible is because it's like wider, so you don't need to have like as tight of a grip as you would on something like this. And I know that doesn't look like a big difference to people who are able-bodied. Like, when you look at it, you're like, okay, that's like not much of a difference, but it's gonna make a difference to someone. Please check out her Instagram. I will link it down below, as well as some links to help some people who really, really need our help right now. And then there's one final lip product which I have like not talked about on camera because I've been afraid to. It's from Bella Beauté Bar. It's the Lip Dewy Oil, and it's in the shade Black Veil. So here's what it looks like. I have talked about wanting black lip glosses, right? Like, I've been talking about, I was like, ooh, black sparkly lip gloss, black sparkly lip product. I'm like, I want that in my life. So when this came in the mail, and this came with the Secret Garden, came a while ago, and I have not talked about it on camera. I was so excited. I've been trying to not put my mouth in these products. I usually use a disposable wand whenever I get a new lip product like this. But I was like so sure I was gonna love this. I was like, bet I'm gonna just throw this on my lips. So this is a lesson learned for me. I'm pretty sure there's like either a pH adjuster or the formula is more pink, because there it is. No, I think it's pH adjusting, because it starts out as like a sheer, hold on, I'll apply a fresh swatch next to it. So that's what it starts like, and then it turns into that. And that is such a bummer. Like, I don't want it to do that. I'm gonna wipe off just the top layer. I'm not gonna use like any makeup remover or anything. It stains, which is like a big bummer. It doesn't mean it's like a bad product. It just means it's not a product for me. I had psyched myself up. I was like, that is gonna be it. That's gonna be it. It's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be the black sparkly lip gloss thing that I'm no. In fact, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the Sigma Cool Neutrals palette, but I'm gonna use the warm tone side. As you know, I've been like mentioning this in videos, like every video. Like, I've been just thinking about my mid-year declutter, and I do think I'm gonna be rather ruthless in it. And eyeshadow palettes is definitely going to be a section that's going to get like probably hit the hardest. So I do really enjoy this palette. I'm like, do I enjoy it enough to like keep? Because I think what my thought process is like, in reality, based on that project I did last year when I got rid of all of my eyeshadow palettes briefly for a couple of months, and then I was like, I never once, not one time, missed them. It's like, I probably could live in a world where I just have some singles and like I could, yeah, as a makeup lover, that could be enough for me. As you know what I mean? It's like, so I'm trying to really discern how I want to continue to like navigate the eyeshadow space for myself. I'm not thinking I want to do anything too extensive on the eyes. I'm thinking just gonna keep it simple. I did a series called Kiss, Keep It Simple, Stupid, a long time ago on my channel. I was really trying to tell people how to do their makeup. I had no right. Now I feel a little more inclined, but you know, I don't think that I'm really out here doing tutorials. Well, no, I know I'm not out here doing tutorials, or we would be probably amidst a tutorial right now instead of what we are amidst. I still need to like clean the house for when Cam comes later this week. And I like laid in bed all weekend. It's been a lot. I might just do a crease shade and then just be like, that's the look. That feels really brave of me. That'd be really brave of me. No, I'm gonna do sparkle. I'm just gonna do a little bit of sparkle. All right, cool. And then I do have a new eyeliner. Ananda also sent me this. It's the Lisa Eldridge eye pencil in the shade Renaissance Gold. So that's that. I'm just gonna put that on the waterline. Beautiful. And then I forgot that Ananda sent this to me. So I ran like my, the last time I used, remember how on camera when I used in the Surratt video, I was like, I shouldn't be using this mascara. And I sure shouldn't have been, because my eyes really hate me later in the day. But Ananda sent me, where did it go? Ananda sent me a little mini of the Lash Clash from YSL, which I haven't used in a while. It's not the best summer mascara, but I love it. Let's see if the love is still there. Yeah, it's still there. Still there. I still like you. Do you think I can get away with Lavenu? Let's try it. It's like what I wanted to wear because I just want to make it work. Does it work? I don't know. I don't know. It's not even, I think the shade is pretty, but I think there's something about the depth of it on my lips. Like it doesn't wear the same as 1990 does on my lips, color-wise, which, because 1990, it looks like it's going to be really deep, but then when you put it on the lips, it's more like a nude. I don't know. Well, let me put on the CoverGirl one, the nude one from CoverGirl. I mean, that works. We might have to do a dedicated video for like, let me figure out how to make Lavenu work on my face. That might be my next, that literally might be my next video. Wow, the skin is skinning. The skin is really doing it. First impressions of this, I'm very into it. It's not really caught in my under eye, but I wouldn't say that's doing the best in the under eye fold either. So what it's kind of done is just kind of like, it's just not in there at all. But honestly, almost like that is better than a bunch of pigment getting stuck in there too. I don't think it's going to be a concealer for everyone, but I'm into it. I really like it. The Hourglass powder is a fave. I mean, I think I said all of my reservations about the face glaze up top. So many lip products. The Surratt liquid highlighter didn't really love going over top of this, but now that it's set there for a little bit, it seems okay. It seems okay. If you were interested in these, but you would want to use it over powder, I don't think that would be the best use case for them, so you might want to pass on them. Still whelmed. Still just think it's fine. Think it's okay. Still, it's not for me. It took me like 3 seconds to make this eye look. Great. I haven't really given this Lisa Eldridge liner like a wear test, so I might have to make a look around it as well, just to like really get my thoughts and feelings on it. What a successful little moment in the testing drawer, because I do think that I look particularly good. Like my skin looks good. I'm like very excited about just like the look and the feel of I'm like very into it. Very into it. Just shaking it up for next time. Anyway, that ends the video. Thank you so much for watching. That wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here and you are not yet subscribed, let me entice you a little bit. So my channel is mostly about loving my makeup collection as it currently is, while being critical and cynical about brands and their nonsense. So if you're into that kind of thing, I would love to have you subscribe. This obviously was a lot of makeup that I don't really have sorted out feelings about. I sometimes get PR. I sometimes buy things to review. It's just like kind of the ebb and flow of my channel, but I really always try to come back to home base with my makeup and like revisit it and love it and talk about it and celebrate it, because that's what I want to encourage you to do before you buy something that will probably do something that your makeup collection can already do. I'm on Instagram at hautemess.tom, and I have Patreon and channel memberships. You can find those linked down below. I do additional content over there, but that's not mandatory. I know money is tight for a lot of people right now, so if you don't want to do it or you can't do it right now, no worries. I appreciate you all the same. Just share this video with someone that you like. Leave a comment down below. All right, remember to follow your hoe and you'll find me. I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Tits out.